And so I'm going to start us off with a pause for like 5 seconds. Okay, welcome everyone. You are tuned in to Conversations in the Nick of Time. I am your host, Nikki Roach, and it is always a pleasure to be in your company wherever you may be in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the time zones, everywhere in the world. You are tuned into Nick of Time, powered by Sparkman Pathway to Careers and KSTL 690 AM here in St. Louis, Missouri. And we are just delighted to bring you information for leaders and the whole idea and concept of leadership. We have accidents and we have excellence in which we show up in this space. And that comes across a whole bunch of topics when we talk about accidents and excellence. I know this topic today is very interesting because I have a little love-hate relationship with it, but, these days we're saying entanglement. I'm having an entanglement with the food right now. So I had to find an expert, a beautiful expert that is, who I've had the pleasure of crossing paths with, and I mean literally crossing paths. So we run in some similar circles, but we have never had the opportunity to press pause and just had some one-on-one time. So we get a chance, and you get a chance, to see this connection happen live on the air, whether you're viewing, and hello to all of you tuned in via Facebook, and then hello to all of you tuned in on the AM dial or the app. We thank you. So I had the pleasure, it was last year, not too far from around this time, TEDx. I was working and doing some work with TEDx Gateway Arch. And they invited me and my business partner, Lori Jackson, out to have a view of what it is that they produce. And so we had our little things that we were supposed to do and provide some feedback. And on the stage walks this beautiful sister in this beautiful white dress, coming to tell us that we needed to understand how we could win the food fight. And so none other than Miss Reshaunda Thornton. How are you?
I'm doing well, Nikki. How are you?
I am fabulous. I'm excited.
I love the introduction. If anyone could see me, or they can hear me blushing if you can't see me.
I am so excited about this opportunity.
I am as well. I'm looking forward to some good conversation this evening.
Yes, yes. So those of you who are not familiar, Reshaunda Thornton is a wellness public speaker, a dietitian, a nutrition expert, an author, a mom, a sister, a confidant. She's a coach, and I could just go on and on and on. Today, though, we are going to try to get her to help us understand, I would say, an accident that many leaders have. This is a perspective that when I was thinking of you and reading all of your extensive work. Leadership, when you're in leadership, and I don't mean like a title, but meaning you're doing things, you're making magic, your hands is to the plow, and you're really grinding and producing. Oftentimes we deny self, but we are such self-care advocates, but we don't take care of self. What is the problem with that?
Well, I think that sometimes when you see yourself in a leadership position, you don't realize the whole gamut of it. And also it's a combination of just society and how we are placed, whether we're parents, caregivers, siblings, friends. We're always in a position where we feel to be leaders means to give everything out, which is great. But I have a perspective with that because I believe that a part of leadership is making sure you represent what you're leading. And to do that, you want to be able to lead at your best. And the only way to do that, from my perspective as a dietitian, is to give your body what it needs to produce that level of leadership, or that level of giving to others. And to me, when it comes to, I really feel when you think about leaders, you think of someone that has 10 things juggling at one time, which is great, so commendable. But how are we supporting that? And for me, I can only best lead by making sure I take care of myself and let that reflect to others. And so as a dietitian, I really drive behind what's turning the wheels. How are you feeding that wheel, that big, massive wheel of leadership that you're producing? What's turning that wheel? And I will say water and air, or not eating properly, or not eating appropriately, or not getting the nutrients in your body is, unfortunately, you're shortchanging yourself. So that's my position as far as leadership, and then how how I see leadership as a way that can even be boasted more, because you physically can do more. You are going to be able to do more and be more careless. Not careless, but selfless if you want to give more.
That puts it in perspective. I mean, it's almost as if, how we say you can't run a car on E, because if it's no gas, it stops.
That's very true. And honestly, the human body is an amazing machine. We can run off of fumes. Whether it's just our passion, we have that adrenaline rushing, we can psychologically run off nothing. But physiologically, at some point, it's going to give out. And I think the problem is, Nikki, that when we do that, we become desensitized to what our body's telling us, or we feel that to be moving quickly, to not only get get a little bit of sleep, or just putting something in your mouth, we feel like that's what we need to do, which is great. But how can we do it to where we're self-serving ourselves, so that we can again produce what we really can, what we can produce more than what we think we can produce. So I tell people all the time, I'll have many of clients ranging from bishops of churches to CEOs of businesses to stay-at-home moms. So it runs the gamut. And it's so interesting, because when I'm talking to these individuals, I understand that, that they're in a position where they are making a lot of decisions. And it always turns out to where they're shortchanging themselves each time. And so for me as a dietitian, and my perspective to nutrition, I want people to really start using their actions of self-care and self-love by taking the time, by putting in the best stuff in their body, so they can not just live a life of serving others, but can live a life of just their own life, serving their life to the best of their capacity.
Yeah, and talking about serving themselves and preparing themselves for service, you have truly made this a lifelong journey, and this is your call to help individuals understand there really is a relationship with food. And you have, degrees in biology, so that's human biology, psychology, and nutrition. And I understand you've stepped back, I guess, at some point and said, hey, let me bundle all this up. But even outside of that, what was the pull, the tug that led you into this space? Or have you always been into this nutrition?
You know how you said earlier, there's sometimes there's accidents, and sometimes they're just excellence. Oh my goodness. Well, I accidentally stumbled upon this profession. Totally didn't know what a dietitian was. I just thought that meant you cook in the kitchen all day. And I was not interested, because I'm a busy woman. I have 5 different things I'm doing at one time. I'm not interested in cooking, until I learned that it's not about just cooking. It's about teaching. And it's so many different areas in which nutrition is needed. It's dire in so many areas. And so once I actually got my first degree in biology, and I worked in research. I worked in genetics. And so I decided to switch careers. And I wanted to stay in the science field, but go more to healthcare. So long story short, I stumbled across the profession. I realized the dynamics of the field of dietetics were, and I decided to switch careers and go back to school. And so the combination of doing that, I'm not sure if I'm not from St. Louis. I'm actually from Houston, Texas, and I moved here to pursue graduate school. And so once the point of what I'm trying to make with that is that I stepped away from from my norm. I stepped out of my nest. And I came to St. Louis. And at that time, I had a 6-year-old little boy. He was going to kindergarten. If it gives you in perspective how long I've been here, he's now a senior in high school. So I've been here about 12 years. Yes. But that 12-year span has been great. So the point I'm trying to make is that once I moved here and I decided to create my own life, I realized when I went to school for dietetics, okay, everyone wants to be a dietitian. His or her goal is to educate, help people eat healthy, tell them what to eat. And I realized that's a society that we need more than that, because everyone knows what to eat. They know what's healthy and what's not healthy. There's something missing. There's something missing. And so I went out on my own and created my own private practice, because I wanted to create an approach to help people to think differently about not just food, but the connection they have with it. Because the reason why people are always struggling, and the reason why people are always self-doubting their ability to be successful in other areas of their life, because they walk around with this cloud of not having confidence in their health, not having confidence what they see in the mirror. There's a circle center, a lot of things center around our relationship with food, and it actually halts us from moving forward in our lives. So as a dietitian, with the knowledge of science and physiology, with the minor in psychology, and with the nutrition component, I decided my consultation practice is going to be how to help people to meet in the middle with their nutrition and let their nutrition be a part of their lives. Not only be a part of their lives, but how can it reflect your life?
So because that is a whole different approach, because even as just a patient who's going to a doctor and you talk about diet, you talk about how that diet impacts every part of your being. I mean, from breathing patterns, I mean, even in your eye, going to the eye doctor, they can tell when you open your eyes and they put that lens to take a look at what's going on. They can even tell about some of your diet that are triggering preventative matters just by looking in your eyes. So this food idea, as I prepared for today, I got more and more fascinated with it, because I'm like, whoa, this is bigger than like, oh, I like this, I like that. This is like, how am I going to continue to, as you said, take in what reflects me? And I've never thought about it like that.
Nutrition is everything. And the reason I say nutrition is everything is because that is our opportunity as an individual person to understand what type of relationship we've had. And a relationship is not something that you just realize. It could be years of certain things in your life, whether it's good or bad, that has connected that's associated with what you eat and how you eat and what you decide to do. It's so embedded. It's overwhelming to open up. Okay. But the importance of it, as I said, nutrition is everything. If we face something we've struggled with our whole life, I've had people say they're just uncomfortable in their own skin. So if you're uncomfortable in your own skin, you're second guessing yourself. You really don't live your life at your fullest, because you're not happy every single day. If you're waking up in the morning and you're not loving what you see in the mirror, if every day you're looking at the person to your right or to your left and second guessing your capabilities because you don't have that positive body image, you have that in the back of your head, something negative is flowing in your head. And a lot of times it's connected with food. It's always connected with food, because food is food is a tool we use to create a reflection of what we see, right? We eat more food, we gain more weight. It's only a tool.
You can't run past that. Food is a reflection of what we see.
Yeah, food is the tool that we use and creates a reflection that we see. So what I'm trying to say is we don't recognize that our relationship with the food is our relationship with the food is really the key to how we can change not just our physical appearance, but we can change how we feel about ourselves, how we love ourselves, how we care about ourselves. Just think about it. When someone goes on a diet, they sacrifice, they take things away, they're miserable. They're not loving their bodies because they take away food, they take away nutrients.
And then we're also starting off in a mental space to where this is not what I want. So I I have to make a change at this point?
Well, they say that they have to make a change, which is I'm glad you said that, because people are forced to do it out of fear. Fear that they'll continue to gain weight, fear that their blood pressure levels will continue to go up, their blood sugar levels will continue to go up. People make choices out of fear. So to bring it back to what I was saying about our relationship with food, we recognize food is a part of everything that it's what stops us from moving forward. So we need to change that relationship with food, okay? Because again, like you said, Nikki, we need to see how our nutrition can be a reflection of how we see ourselves. So let me give you a quick example that just makes it simple. Me personally, if I had an option to choose a nice rib sandwich, right? I'm from Texas, so like smoked barbecue, right? Or a grilled chicken Caesar salad, okay? I know the difference between what's better for me and what's not better for me. Now, the reason why I choose a grilled chicken salad is not because I know I'll not gain weight, I know I can lose weight, or I know someone told me so. I choose that salad because I know the nutrients in it. I know the quality of that is what's deserving to be in my body. So every time I choose that salad, I'm reflecting self-care. I'm reflecting self-love. I'm not doing it because I'm supposed to or I have to. I'm reflecting how I care about myself, how I love myself. And if people can continue to do that and make choices because of that reason, you're continually bringing in positive energy. You're continually reminding yourself that you are important. And when you start having that nonverbal communication and nonverbal language, that's how confidence happens. Because then you want to accept anything less in your life. Because if you recognize food is how you see yourself, then that's going to reflect the next decision you make moving forward, because you're not going to dare put yourself in a position that's not going to reflect who you are, your values.
Wow,
and we don't think about it that way.
Correct. You see, I'm a little speechless, because one of the key words you used was choice. It's a choice. Do we choose? No, we're choosing regardless. It's just a matter of what we're choosing, and that stems
and why.
And the why. Unpack the why. Okay.
It has to be why, because if you want what's best for yourself, okay, you're gonna get if you had a choice to get the best car, you're gonna get the best car. If you like certain purses, you're gonna get the best purses. Shoes, the best shoes, because they reflect you, right?
That's right.
Same thing with your nutrition. But this time it's your life. Food, cars, shoes, clothes, they depreciate. They change over time. You won't see them in 3 years, 4 years down the road. But food is not going anywhere. So this is a continued way that you can continue to reiterate how you care about yourself, how you see about yourself, how you feel about yourself, by redevelop this relationship with food that reflects that. And it doesn't go away.
Okay, so I'm all messed up.
I don't want to preach now.
Look, this is not water.
That's alkaline water, yeah. Electrolyte water.
So it's so funny why I'm done and I'm all messed up, because you just broke it down to where it totally is clear, I think, to all of us. So ladies and gents, so you pick that car, you said, because why? It reflects who you are. It reflects your brand. It reflects your image. You pick that pair of shoes. And what's funny, just think about when even your friends and family, they're like, I was out at the store and I saw something that reminded me of you. So what reminds someone of us when we talk about food? Okay.
That's true.
Work to do.
And it's not easy, Nikki. So one thing I do a lot of, preaching and but I know it's not easy. So there's a portion of this where we have to, give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
Because you can't learn this overnight. You can't switch your heart overnight. It doesn't happen. So we're taught, if we're going to get things together, we got to just put on blinders, push everything to the side and forge through. But this thing called this relationship has just been embedded in your life for years over years that you didn't even recognize what's connecting your association with food. it's not going to happen overnight. So it takes time. But with anything that's worth learning or growing or acquiring, it takes time. We're a continuing and growing entity. We're a continuing evolving entity. So that means give ourselves space and understanding that in order to, if we really want to start changing our perspective, changing our mindset with food, it takes time. But guess what? That's why when you're choosing that salad or choosing that fruit or drinking that water, you do it every day consistently. And over time, that'll naturally become second nature to you over time.
And what's so interesting that I have learned is that all that you're telling us helps to be sure that we are doing our part as individuals to ward off preventive diseases. One thing that I've mentioned, I know we've done a show in the past about how especially women of color are dying younger and earlier than we should be by crazy numbers that are increasing. And we already have so many other things coming at us. But because of preventable diseases, which are impacted by this very topic that you are unpacking for us, it's causing us to die. Specifically women of color at an earlier age. And so this, not bringing that up as a fear factor, because I love how you broke it down to where it says, like making sure it's a choice because it reflects who we are, which totally shifts the mindset. And that's that psychology that you have, that expertise. But at the same time, we understand there are some things that we have to do and choose. It is not just a matter of, I know a lot of times we get stuck in the conveniences that can present themselves to us, but we have to understand our choices. And again, shifting that mindset to understand this is giving me longer life, but the body can heal itself in so many ways when we feed it the right thing.
That is very true when it comes to the preventive component. When it comes to preventive health, that's exactly why I chose to be a dietitian in this stage of a person's life. Because if I can help you, I'm not going to give you a meal plan. I'm not going to give you a diet because that's just instructions. That's a cookie cutter instruction which you're taught that you just need to follow the rules. And that's now, everyone's life is different. Everyone is not meant to follow the same rule. That also means you're not a part of the equation if you just follow someone's rules. You as an individual is a part of your nutrition equation. So that's why I customize everything to my clients, or even to the conversation that I have on a larger scale, because we need to understand that we are a part of the picture and we're not taught that. And when you want to say you're a part of the picture, you have a say in it. Like you don't have to eat the same thing someone else eats. You decide, but you learn, takes education. You learn what works best for you. And then when you recognize you're part of the equation, then you learn how to marry that with your nutrition. And one thing about preventive health, again, as you learn and understand like what you're putting, if you only knew what I knew about what we put in our bodies or what we're marketed to, how we're taught to read labels, how we're taught to just go off of smell and go off of the way it looks versus really knowing what's going on in this food. We're blindly just shortening our lives. And then it's shortening our lives as far as our mortality, but it's shortening our lives as far as our happiness. Because if we can't get past the smell of a certain food, but we love it so much, we're continually struggling with it. And that's the same food that's causing us to gain weight. That's the same food that causing our blood pressure to go up, that causes us to be predisposition to cancer. Like we are literally we are like shortening our happiness because we don't understand the importance of what we're putting in our body, how we need to take control of that. And we can take control of that. And I'll go down the road in a few moments about balance, because it's all about balance. I'm not saying throw away all of the browns and the cookies and the cake. I'm not saying that, but it's a balance with that. So if I can I'm always like to make things simple because people remember like the things that connect to them. My goal is to help people to start making choices, not out of fear anymore, but make choices out of love for themselves. Make choices out of love for yourself. Don't make choices because you're scared that this is going to happen down the road. We can't live in fear. When you learn to make choices out of love for yourself, that is the most beautiful feeling in the world. And it's the most liberating feeling. It's the most freeing feeling in the world, Nikki. And that's why I'm so hard set on my mission. And I know, like I said, this is what I'm meant to do. I have no doubt this is what I'm not meant to do this for the rest of my life. And I have no problem doing it because I figured out what is the missing link. And we have to teaching people how to love themselves through their relationship with food. It's going to answer all your questions moving forward in life.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is just amazing. Those who are listening to Conversations in the Nick of Time, I'm your host, Nikki Roach, powered by Sparkling Pathway to Careers and KSCL 690. I'm just in deep right now with our expert, our nutritionist, Ms. Reshaunda Thornton, who is a TEDx speaker. I want to get into that next. I'm an author, a public speaker, and I can go on and on and on about all the things that she has done, but she has truly answered her call. You're right. You have been called and birthed to do this work. I have no doubt. And you were leading us into this whole idea about the foods that we're eating and the things that we're not doing. One thing that I was instructed to do was to turn the package over. One, when grocery shopping, don't go in the middle of the aisles. Shop in the big U and come out. Eat from the earth as much as possible. Anything that I'm eating, try to make sure and make sure it has a seed. If it's something that was produced from a seed, it needs to have a seed. Which I was like, what? No. So all those people buying those seedless watermelons, that is genetically modified, right?
It's true. I mean, how can you produce a sterile piece of fruit
that is produced from a seed?
Yeah.
The other thing was turn packages of food that you're buying out of the grocery store, flip them over, look for the ingredients section, and if it's more than 5, you might need to put it back.
Or the food should be its ingredient.
Oh, that's a whole
If you're looking at peanut butter, it should say peanuts and salt, period. If the food should be its ingredient. And yes, you may have something that's a combination, but each word should be a food, period. That means no preservatives, no additives, no chemical compounds in it, because our body's not meant to thrive off of preservatives, additives, or chemical compounds. It's meant to thrive off of just pure food, whole, clean food. That's it. That's what our body's meant to, and that's why we have so many health issues. That's why cancer is prevalent. That's why obesity is prevalent. That's why our body doesn't know how to take all that stuff. It can't. It's like so that's what goes back to loving yourself. Like our body is really one body, Nikki. You get one body.
One time.
You don't get a second Nikki. If you don't get a second Nikki, you get one opportunity to take the best care of what you've been given on this earth. You got one opportunity, and your body's meant to thrive off like you say, the earth. If you can't grow it or kill it, that's my way of saying it. Can't grow it or kill it. You don't need to eat it. So your body is meant to thrive off of whole, real food. That's its life source. So if you start bringing in these other things because to add more sweetness or give it more shelf life, or if you process food, it's not food because it's turned over 4 or 5 times. They infuse artificial nutrients in there. Your body doesn't know what that is. It doesn't recognize it. But because of that, the byproduct is that your body try to find a way to balance it and cope with it, and it continuously build over time to where that's where chronic illness and chronic diseases happen, because our body's not built to eat that stuff they call food. It's not.
And the test for those who are possibly on the fence about, is this really for real? Here's a test, because I had to learn this, and I'm like, oh my God. Like they said, if you go and get a McDonald's French fry, and I'm not coming from McDonald's, but let me just say a drive-through French fry that is not a real fry, real potato. It can last in your car and you can still like for years. But here's the test. Go and buy a loaf of bread off of the shelf out of a grocery store. Just a loaf of bread. But then also go and get a loaf of bread that was baked fresh in the morning and ask them to bread slice it. Put them both on your counter and just leave them alone and come back in 2 days. Just 2. And then come back in a month. If you
Oh
can,
my goodness.
you can just do it. The one that you buy from the shelf, you can still make sandwiches. You can still make grilled cheese. But the one that is whole food, meaning all natural with no preservatives, it will literally, you will have to like get gloves to pick it up because it will be so gross.
And foul. And you know, they always say, oh, it costs more. This is a big myth. It's so expensive to eat healthy. No, it's not expensive to eat. Well, it can be expensive to eat healthy if you can go down the drive-thru and get a full meal for $3. Anything is expensive comparable to that. So if you look at the numbers, when you're buying more fruits and more vegetables and more whole items, it's a lot cheaper than buying, even buying a bag of chips off the aisle. It's quick and convenient. You may think, oh, it's just $1 or $2, but $1 and $2 can go far with fresh produce or with vegetables and fruit. And you also got to think, your life is worth it. Your health is worth it. Your body is worth it. You are worth it. Again, it goes back. If you spend $80 to get your hair done and go get a new pair of kicks for $150, $200, that's going to depreciate. That's going to go away. Your life is not going anywhere. So how are we reinvesting or reprioritizing where we put our finances? Because we are investing in ourselves. And so buying that nutrition that you need is investing in yourself, i.e. loving yourself.
And so you had the opportunity, as we mentioned earlier, to TEDx Gateway Arch. Hey, Steve Summers and Mitch. Hope you have. I think they were able to get the new name too. So I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
That experience, how was that? And let's also call out, like, I'm grateful for meaning TEDx Gateway Arch, their intention of diversifying their stage. So that I was so excited to see. But how was that experience?
It was what you're gonna get about a couple lifetime experience that you'll never forget. And it was one of those. I will tell you that, and I'm sure it's okay to say, I didn't get the opportunity the traditional way. The tables lined up to where I had opportunity to let them know who I was, where I stood, and what my message was. And there was a way made for me to get on that stage for that event. And just to give a shout out to TEDx Gateway Arch and their crew, their facilitators, they were 100% amazing. They prepared you for everything. And I took advantage of it. So when it was time for me to walk on that stage, I was ready, I was confident, and I was ready to give my message to the world. And I leaving that stage, I didn't feel like, oh, I wish I would have said X, Y, Z. I really felt everything came out of my heart and was packaged in a way that give you pretty good insight on another way to look at how you interact with your food. And I think it was mission accomplished.
Yes, and just some of the highlights from that talk, and we're going to put the link out there so people can go and see it. Very educational tool, will help you shift and reaffirm this conversation. But diets, you said, remind you of exams.
Mm-hmm. Diets reminds me of exams, because when you're getting ready to take an exam, it's kind of a life or die situation, right? Like, you study hard, you stay up late, you take away all the things that your fun stuff away because you want to pass this test. And then think about exams. Once you pass, you're done. Like, whew, I passed the test. We do the same thing with diets. We say, I'm going to follow every rule. I'm going to do exactly what it says. I'm not going to slip. I'm not going to cheat. And when I make the weight, when I lose the 20 pounds, I pass. Well, unlike the exams, with diets, you got to keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's not a once you pass, you stop. Whatever it took for you to lose that weight, it's going to be very similar to keep it off. But with diets, we're thinking start and stop, start and stop. And that's not how it goes. Yeah. And it's disheartening because we choose diets because diets gives us hope that we will, this is the diet's going to do it. My cousin did it. I seen the superstar rapper or R&B singer do it. I can do it. And again, diets is the whole diet. It's the diet mentality, which is, I'm sure you know, it's the mentality where we feel we have to follow these rules sketched in. That's not really who we are. And then it always ends up with the same feeling at the end. We do it for hope, but we end up feeling hopeless every single time. And that's just disheartening to me. It's disheartening to me.
That's true, because we're altering our authentic selves to try to fit in a mold and a routine that is not normal. And when you do that, that resistance is there. And although we may be following through, that resistance is still causing other things to trigger within our being, in our psyche. So I get it.
Yeah. And when you're in a diet, you're not thinking about loving yourself. You think about, let me get through this, let me do what it says for me to do so I can, change this, get this to this certain body size. You're not focused on loving yourself. And again, you're not even in the moment. Like eating nutrition, eating healthy, it also helps you to be in the moment. Like that's what the relationship part is. Like you have to build a relationship, because your relationship with anything in your life, you take advantage of every moment you have with that. And nutrition is something that's going to be with us for the rest of our lives, the rest of your life.
We continuing to build up this whole concept around nutrition. And in your TED Talk, you did separate and cause us to understand there is a difference between nutrition and food. Another education.
Yeah, so simple. The difference between food and nutrition, that's why if you notice, I don't say food a lot. I try to change that word to nutrition, because food is something that we put in our mouth depending on if it tastes good, reminds us some good or bad time, if it's cheap, if it looks good, whatever we're feeling like, we just put something in our mouth. We don't even connect. We have no connection to it. Nutrition is intentional. Nutrition is what you seek. Nutrition is what you thrive, that you go towards to have. You're looking out ways to find that nutrition. You're not just putting in something in your system. You're finding the best thing to put in your system. And another thing, I've said this on the TED Talk. If you ever still question what's the difference, you go to a drive-through and I ask you, are you going to order food or are you going to order nutrition? So that should clearly tell you the difference. You're not going to order nutrition at a gas station or at a fast food restaurant. You're going to order food. And again, that food, there's no connection to the word food. That means there's no connection. It's just it's a slit in between. But when you say nutrition, like you're seeking like the healthy food or the food that's best for your body. Two totally different concepts.
Totally different concepts. Even hearing you break it down to where it's like, oh, so it's not time for me to eat food. It's time for me to nourish myself. Nurture, love, self-love, all of that different stuff that you
physically, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically, you doing all of it simultaneously. All of it simultaneously. No one sits there and eats a healthy meal and say, man, I sure feel bad. I hate that I ate that meal. Why did you do it, Reshaunda? Why did you eat that salad? No one. You feel great. You feel proud. You feel accomplished. You feel like you do other things. Like that's what I'm talking about, Your
body responds to it by helping to purify when you have those nutritional options.
So
One
true.
that will highlight, I have quite a few, but I'm just kind of pulling some. Don't count calories, but rather make every calorie count. See, I did some homework.
You're a good girl. You need to be my spokesperson, you my hype girl or something. Oh, yes. We always taught to count calories. We taught to count numbers. We just taught. You think about that. That's just like a robotic thing. Let me count, see if I stay within its parameters, and again, you're not connecting yourself to what you're eating. Your food is just a commodity. It's based off what calories is going to get to your body. And you know what? It's not about calories, because calories, that's the dietitian component of it. calories are not all the same. I'm not going to go into the depthness of it, but they're not the same. So I never count calories. First, I don't want to live under these rigid rules. I got the idea of being successful, or the idea of being good, is making sure I stay within this caloric number. Okay. So instead of counting calories, I take time and I make sure everything I put in my body, I make every calorie count. So it means something. And that's, again, another like way that we're not taught to think. And it's freedom, because you're not even worried about the calories. You just make sure, if everything matters, then what you counting for?
Correct. And I'm sure you've counted a number of cases with your clients, and you've had enough time and skin in the game at this point of your career and your company, BetterVessel Nutrition, to have a sense of some trends and some patterns. And when you're working with your clients, what is it that's making your soul heavy, though, when it comes to this work after all this time? What makes your heart heavy?
It hurts when I see people sad and people struggle. People struggle all day, every day. They'll put on a smile, they'll put on the masquerade, but deep down inside, they're dying inside. And I know, again, if they're coming to me, I understand. I know it's multiple reasons, and they know that they're coming to me. So they're coming to me because they want to lose weight, they want to eat healthier, they want to get ready for some event or occasion. I totally know it, but I know once we sit down together and we work as a team, we're able to build that rapport, and we're able to dig a little bit deeper as to why we do what we do. Like, I'm not going to just tell you what to do. We got to realize why we're doing what we're doing, so we can recognize so we can find solutions. So when I work with people, it tugs on my heart. I swear I'm like drained, and when I get done working with clients, because I want people to be happy, and I understand this is what's stopping their happiness. So taking time and working together, unraveling some of those layers and helping them to be successful and be accomplished and feel good about themselves. I promise you, my clients walk out, not that day one, it could take more days, but they walk out with a full feeling of confidence in who they are. They have other endeavors that they know now they can tackle because they overcome this obstacle they've been struggling with their whole life. If you could overcome this obstacle you've been struggling with your whole life, how love is going to be on the other side when you have passed this up. Nothing can stop you now. Nothing can stop you.
I mean, the weight that lifts. I mean, that's probably an undescribable feeling.
And that's why I say freedom. I'm telling you, Nikki, I feel free every day, and that's what I'm trying to unlatch in other people. I use nutrition as a vehicle to help people to find happiness and find freedom. That's also the bottom line. I'm helping people be happy and be free, and I'm using nutrition as a way to do that. That's my gateway.
And if you had like your top, real quick, top 3 things that you would tell people, like if they like, I want to start this process. I'm not ready to talk to anyone just yet, but what are maybe, 1 to 3 things? I say 3, I always pick the number 3, so it could be 1. But the one thing to even begin to bend my mind and my heart to be in alignment with something like this.
Well, I do know that it's not, you can want it but not be ready, and that's if you're not ready, then it's not time.
So that's
yeah. You have to understand that you'll come to a point where you're ready to make that real change. And until then, you're gonna play with it. You're gonna waste your time, waste your money. You're gonna go these little short spurts of diets and these little ideas, or until you're really, really ready to make a change. All of that's just when you're ready, you're ready. So I would say for people that are struggling with it, decide when you're ready to let this be your last time to go through this thing. Decide when you want to stop taking so many years off your happiness, off your life, off of what you can give others by learning, but knowing that you are. So, here's another one. I got it. So when you start recognizing it, we have to learn how to be selfish for ourselves and be okay with it. We got to be okay with it. So that means investing time, investing money for yourself, and be okay with it. Because that's another thing. We want to eat healthy, we want to live a healthy life, but then we got these other things to do. So we feel like we do something for ourselves, we're being selfish, and then we feel guilty about that. So learn that it's okay to love yourself and take time to invest in yourself. But you have to be, that's a part of that mentality in that process. So a lot of times people are ready, but then they have these other things in the back of their head that if I do this, what's going to be taken away? I promise you, if you're in a position where you're ready to make that change and you realize taking time for yourself is needed and you deserve it, then you will carve that time out to fulfill your dreams and really what you want in life, and see the other things in life that you maybe thought you couldn't do, you can do. And the third thing I would say is, if you go to ReshaundaThornton.com and go to the book link, I have a book called Play to Win Your Food Fight. And I call it a book of tools, not rules, because it's tools on how we can start recognizing different interactions that we have with food and how we can start addressing it. So the idea of play to win is anything in life that you do, you play to win. Whether it's your marriage, whether it's your child raising, you're in it to win. So when it comes to your nutrition, your food, like you want to play to win this fight and the struggle you having with food. And so my book is built off my counseling, my empowerment, but I give you ways to win. So I would say that would be a good, just kind of a good read to keep with you, because that'll start changing your mindset, giving you ways to start thinking differently. Once you change your mindset, recognize that you are worth it, then you're ready to learn. And when you're ready to learn, then we're ready to go.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. You have the platform right now to communicate one message, saving somebody possibly in the nick of time, who's ready to make that decision, and or who may be struggling, whichever way you want to bend. What one message would you tell them right now?
I would say that, as I would love to say as women, but as women, men, as just people, we're in a world where we're taught that we have to be perfect. We have to always be at the top. And life is not about that. When it comes to your life, everything is in practice. You're practicing life now. And so now if you want to start practicing a healthy life, again, that takes time, it takes practice. So taking time to love yourself first. The idea of loving yourself could just be going for a walk 15 minutes before you get your day started. Put yourself first. Learn to put yourself first and be okay with putting yourself first. And then when you are doing that, that's the act of self-care and self-love, And so your other part of that is what you're putting in your body. You have the ability, and it's not easy, and it takes learning, and it takes talking to the right person and being around the right people. And that's nothing about information. You got to make sure your information is legit and solid. And that's why I have a degree in nutrition dietetics. I also have a master's in nutrition dietetics. So I've done the work. So having someone that has the knowledge that's going to be able to work with you, not tell you what to do, but work with you to figure out what works best for you. Because it's a team effort, because you need that guidance. I'm like your navigation system. But I only navigate you. You are the one driving the car. So there is a level of responsibility, because guess what? You need to recognize that you can do it yourself. I'm just going to tell you which way to kind of go and encourage you, empower you to do it yourself. But at the end of the day, it's going to be all on you. But it's great because at the end of the day, you can say, yep, I did that. I learned how to do that for myself. And that's so key. It is so key, because you can. And once you realize, now you're going to soar. You're going to soar. And that's what we're meant to do as team. We're meant to soar in our life and teach others how to soar. And so to me, that would be what I would help people to start doing. Just loving yourself first, understanding it's a mindset perspective. And it takes steps, takes time. But that's how you're going to get to the other side of the happiness that we're all thriving so hard to be at.
Wow. Reshaunda Thornton, this has been powerful. I expected it to be, but I mean, this was class for me. I have a number of people who are responded. Laren Wagner, she's saying, I love this. Ben Broadnax, how are you? He started his second 30-day diet Tuesday. No diet. It's a choice. It's a choice.
Well, commends on you, brother. I'll say keep it consistent means keep it going. Don't keep it going.
Right. And then we have Aqua Adams. How are you? She says, be selfish with yourself and don't feel guilty about it. Diet stands for do I eat this? Ask yourself, do I eat this?
I like the acronym. That was a great one.
How are you? Sending love back to you and all your people on her side. She's my sister on the station. Lynn Taylor in Chicago and Tom Schweitzer. How are you? Pamela Ware down in Florida. She's saying eating healthier feels better. You live longer. Robin Thick, how are you? She says, so true. I lost almost 100 pounds when I decided to change my relationship with food. Wow.
That's a living testimony right there.
Oh my God.
She decided to change her relationship. She decided. She wasn't forced. She is all about the relationship.
Yeah.
And when you start doing that, you start loving. When you start loving yourself like crazy, you can't stop. You can't stop.
Reshaunda, thank you so much for giving us just a few moments of your time to share on this platform to help us understand this is still part of leadership accidents and excellence. When we're talking about the accident is not choosing and the excellence is choosing to make sure that our relationship is healthy and that we understand this. There is a difference between food and nutrition, and the shift for many of us, I think we got it. So thank you so much.
Did my job.
I am
But thank you, Nikki.
We'll put your information. It will be locked into the post right after we get off. And then also those of you who are asking about the book is titled Play to Win the Food Fight. We'll also have her link to her website so you can get more information as well. Want to thank you for tuning in with us. You could be doing anything else right now. And I am just grateful for you giving us your ear, your heart, and your hand as we begin this journey again to excellence. We understand those accidents are needed, but these conversations in the nick of time get us straightened out. So don't forget, you already possess everything you need to be successful, and that's success as you define it. Make sure you go and tap into it and activate it. I love this word of choose to do it. I'm your host, Nikki Roach, listening to Conversations in the Nick of Time, powered by Sparkman Pathway to Careers and KSTL 690. Until next time, be blessed.